Okay, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakat, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who teacheth the Bible in 100% truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, especially the 144,000, consisting of the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans in the land of the Americas, as well as the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners living amongst the other nations. Shalom to you. Okay, so in the previous video last night, I uploaded a video. Was talking about World War III, if you like, and the situation with Iran and the small hats. And since then, I mentioned that at that point, it was around 1 o'clock in the morning, and at the same time I was doing the video, there was reports coming through that the small hats are doing a ground invasion on Lebanon. And since then, obviously, I've seen another video which kind of relates to everything that I was saying in that particular video. And then obviously we've seen since then, now it's like 8 o'clock in the evening, so what's that, 19 hours roughly, we're seeing what's happening with this ground invasion. And you've probably seen on the news, this is from Sky News, this picture here, this is Sky News in the UK. Breaking news, they've got here reporting dozens of missiles fired over Jordan to Israel. And obviously this is in retaliation. Iran have fired these ballistic missiles in retaliation to what happened to Nasrallah. Obviously it's also because of what's happening with Lebanon and so on and so forth. Like I've mentioned before, many people have mentioned before, these people like Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, they're pretty much just an extension of Iran. They just don't come under the name of Iran, so to speak. So you've got this situation going on, and these are some of the pictures. I took screenshots from Sky News, and you can see they kind of look like chariots of the Most High, angelic vehicles, but these are ballistic missiles been sent over. And then you can see here, for example, in this picture, what's happening is these ballistic missiles from Iran are entering into the Iron Dome, and some of them are getting shot down. So you can see some are exploding in the air, and that's because they're getting shot down. Now, it does look like obviously there's others getting through. This is another picture, so you can see how far they're traveling. Apparently they're traveling for roughly 12 minutes before they're hitting their target. And what they say, with the Iron Dome is that, yeah, it shoots down ballistic missiles. It looks like some are getting through. And they say that is because those ballistic missiles were just going to land in the desert. They weren't going to land anywhere in particular that was going to cause any damage. So what's the point wasting money shooting down a ballistic missile that's going to land in the desert? So that's the talk from the small hats. But the talk from Iran is that, out of 200 odd, 180 odd ballistic missiles, X amount, I don't know, 50%, 60%, whatever they're saying, I don't know, have landed. So, you kind of got to read between the lines. Obviously, sometimes when you're hearing these particular reports. Now, I mentioned last night, the fact that this is like a strategic battle that's going to lead us into the Third World War. It's not, you don't just come out, like I said, you don't just come out handbags at 6 paces, start lashing your handbag. It's not a nightclub, because in a nightclub that happens, and then before you know it, there's a big crowd of jakes, usually about 30, 40, all gathering into this one. You've got 2 people throwing handbags at each other, and all of a sudden there's about 30 people. It kicks off, and people are fighting everybody. That's Jake with lack of control and strategic planning. But in war, especially with the damage that can be caused to you or to the opposition, the fact that you could escalate it so far that it gets to a nuclear ICBM stage. Sometimes people don't really want that, but they still want to take over lands with war. So you've got this battle happening. That's what I mentioned last night. And so then, I'm just flicking through these pictures. So from there, you've got to look at a couple of things. Now, number one, at the minute, Iran are responding. This is, kind of like what people are waiting to see. We've got the true men of the Lord that are basically, hoping for this to happen, to take us into the Third World War, the MOTB, so on and so forth. So we're kind of willing it to happen. You've got, like, for example, in the Western world, and the Western world reaches from America to Europe, down to Russia, even down to Australia. So we call it the Western world, but it's countries pretty much that have adopted the beast system, and then they'll have a certain type of media. The pattern of the way the media presents information is the same in all these countries. Maybe it's a bit different in Russia, but so what happens is you've got all these people looking at the situation, going, okay, when is this going to escalate? Is it going to become a regional war? We hope not. We're sitting here willing it to go to the regional war so that it can go to the Third World War. And what I've explained in the previous video, that the fact that the Most High is building up, and Bibi Netanyahu, he's got to build him up to do what he's doing. Ultimately what he's going to do is you can describe it as doing a madness. And so to do the madness, you got to put him in the mindset. And like I said, that you had Nasrallah. He was you could call it executed, whatever, assassinated. Sorry, that's the word, assassinated. And they're thinking, oh, no real response. So they've gone out with this situation with Lebanon, and now Iran are responding. So we don't really know where it's going to go. We'll find out tomorrow, around about lunchtime, because come tomorrow lunchtime, you will know if this response from Iran is going to continue, and we'll also see the response back, if any, from the small hats, or are they just going to ignore it? Because they could, there's a school of thought with the small hats is they ignore it as if to rubbish it off, and they keep concentrating on the fronts, fighting on the three fronts. They're fighting against Hezbollah, Houthis, and Hamas. So we're all waiting to see what Iran does. And this is what I wanted to add to what I was saying last night. The problem that Iran have is that they have nuclear bases. And so the reason why they have to be cautious is because if they come out, you go to 2nd Ezra chapter 15, just real quickly, starting at 28. Behold, an horrible vision. This is what we're waiting for. And we're waiting to see the manifestation of this horrible vision. As horrible as it sounds, we want to see it. It says, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots of war, tanks, whatever else. It says, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth. When the wind's blowing around the earth, there's nothing you can do to stop it. You can't put a big wall all the way around the planet to stop the wind. The wind will just ride over the top and keep going. It says that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. It says also the Carmanians. The Carmanians are Iran. Raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. So for prophecy to be fulfilled the way we want it to be, the Carmanians, Iran, have to come out raging in wrath. Now, if they do that, they're careful with that, because if they do that and then they get a direct, instant attack back from America or the small hats, what will the America or the small hats do? They will target their nuclear sites. The problem with Iran's nuclear sites is they're not really ready to fire back. So you can't say to someone who's got ready-made nuclear ICBMs, yeah, we're going to start targeting your nuclear sites. They'll say, okay, we'll just send some nuclear bombs to you. with ICBMs, for example. So you can't really put Russia, as we've just seen over the course of the last 2 years, you can't put them under that pressure. And Biden knew it. He said, no, we don't want to go to war, because that would be the Third World War, because they have the arsenal to come back at us. So what can you threaten Russia with? Oh, we're going to target your nuclear sites if you keep causing all this problem. They can reach it, but Russia can reach yours. You see, America and Israel can reach Iran's nuclear sites, but they can't quite reach back because they haven't actually finished them. So this is why you see this long game from Iran. They pop shops every now and again just to show that they're still about and they're not having it, but they're careful not to overstep the mark, because they don't want to get a crazy retaliation where it wipes them out their nuclear facilities. If that happens, they puts them back 25, 30 years straight away. So they're like a man, with a gun, but the gun's only like 90% there, and he's just waiting for that last part to come to be delivered in the post. And when he's got that one piece, that one part of the gun that's missing, it gets delivered in the post, he attaches it. You can disassemble and reassemble these guns. When that one piece comes in the post, it's on, because then he has this complete gun. But up until that point, he'll take the shit. He'll take the knock on the chin. Okay, yeah, cool. He'll throw a punch back. And so this is where Iran are. That's why they have to be careful. And like I said last night, you've then got Bibi Netanyahu, or the banking elites, which is ultimately who's talking in his ear through the UN, who's allowing him to get away with it. Their thing is, oh, we got away with it, we're not getting any response, cool, let's do it again. Oh, we got away with it again. Oh, then it happens where they get a response. Oh, but that response was nothing. Yeah, we'll ignore it and act like it's just don't mean shit, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing. And they're testing the water. And then, now you've seen it over the course of the last week. Bibi Netanyahu, who's ultimately speaking for that agenda, he's bold and brave, and they're brash, and they're just doing their thing. So it's got to escalate more. More damage has to be done, for example, to the proxy armies of Iran, which is Hezbollah, Hamas, and Houthis. When they start to really get damaged, that's when you start to see Iran start to panic. And meanwhile, who knows, they could be on the phone to Russia. Who knows what they're trying to sort out. But the Most High ultimately is going to put it in the minds of these kings to come together in certain alliances to form different sides of this particular war. See, the other thing with the situation, like for example, it's exciting. You stick the news on, and you're just seeing Iran sending over ballistic missiles into the small hats. They've got the Iron Dome, so we don't know how many are really hitting and how many are really not. Some are getting shot down, some are getting through, but then they say, well, the ones that got through, we let them because they land in the desert. But it kind of looks exciting. It's what we want. I'm watching it and I'm hearing air raid sirens over Jerusalem. I'm seeing, like I showed in the picture, you're seeing these things fly over. But with the ballistic missile, you've got levels of weapons. So what's happened is, Iran, up until now, they're likely to have used drones in certain situations. And this is a step up, because now they're using ballistic missiles. But after ballistic missiles comes cruise missiles. You see, the ballistic missile isn't as dangerous as a cruise missile. A ballistic missile gets shot in a certain path and is very easy to predict. So it's easy to shoot down, they're slow, they're hot, and that's why they say we let some of them through, because we know they're going to land in the desert. It's all about the trajectory of the ballistic missile. But then the cruise missile, you see, when we get to the stage where they start sending cruise missiles, then the cruise missiles are hard to detect, because they fly around where they want, they cruise. They just go around on a cruise, go this way, go that way. And then when they decide, or when they're programmed to, they then all of a sudden change course and direct, home in directly on their target. So there's very short warning. For example, at the minute, like I said, with these ballistic missiles, they're taking 12 minutes to travel. So they got that, and they got the trajectory. So they see them coming in, they're hot, they're on the radar. They say, yeah, we'll just start shooting at this angle at this time, and we'll take them down. So it's escalating, but there's another level where it could escalate too. And can you imagine then when they start using cruise missiles, that starts doing real damage to the small hats? Small hats would then need more backup from America, which they got now. They got more troops. And this is what people are saying, that the America, last night the ground invasion started, so America sent the troops in, sent more troops over to back them up, as to show like a strong arm. Even though at the UN they're saying, oh, can't you just have a ceasefire for 21 days? They're still going to back them. And then you've got, but what's happened now, you've got Iran firing back with these ballistic missiles. So this is why people are on edge at the minute, because they're going, well, by tomorrow lunchtime we'll know. Are they going to keep up with this? Are they going to, are they going to step up from the ballistic to the cruise? Are they going to keep sending troops? Are they going to keep coming back with this response? Then America and the small hats will have their reason to go in and destroy their nuclear facilities. And so this is the game that Iran are playing. This is why they're sometimes trying to be Mr. Nice Guy, and then sometimes they're trying to respond. You have to. You can try and be Mr. Nice Guy, but at the same time you kind of have to stand your ground, because you've got these Amalekites taking the mick, taking the piss. So what would you do? And now, like I say, they're just waiting. It's like they're almost just waiting for that one part to turn up in the post, that final piece of the jigsaw. They clip it on, boom, the thing's ready to go. It's like your car breaks down. You're at home. You find out what the problem is. You find out there's a electrical relay that's broken. It costs you £3. You order it in the post. You've got to wait 3 days. The car can't move. Finally, that little piece comes in the post. You take it out. This £3 relay. You plug it back into the car. Boom, car starts. So that's why Iran have to play that game. And so at this point, we don't know. It's all in the Most High's hands. Is he going to put the spirit on them to come back with more of a retaliation by tomorrow? Or are they going to get them to cool off? If he gets them to cool off, then we know the Most High is still building up. Bibi, go on, Bibi, do your thing. Here's a spirit of war. Indulge yourself in it. And that's what we want. So I just wanted to add on to that, like I say, from what I said last night, going into a little bit more detail as to where that strategic game plan comes into play. Now there's another video that I want to share with you, which is this one on the screen. This channel, I never watched this channel before, but I clicked on it because of the title. It's like Mahmoud or someone, some Ishmaelite basically, Mahmoud OD. It says here, we handed Gaza to Hamas. Hezbollah hits Karish gas field and the US troops to die for Bibi. And so, we've explained before, I went into it last night, you've got like people like the UN, you've got these presidential leaders, prime ministers, kings, whatever they are, and they come out on the TV and they say things. And not just now, even with like what happened in 2020, 2021, what happened in 9/11, all sorts of things. And we get these people that come out on TV and they present messages to you. When you have a TV program, the TV program, you sit down for half an hour or an hour and a half to watch a movie. What are you watching? You're watching many different scenes that are acted out at different times, and for each particular moment, you've got like a 2-minute scene, and these people act in a certain way that they've been told to act, and it gets filmed, and then you do it again. You film these other people doing something for a couple of minutes, and you film it, and you stop, and eventually you edit all those little clips, you add them together, it becomes 1 hour and a half movie. An hour and a half movie is not an hour and a half movie. It's hundreds, thousands, I don't know, whatever. I never made a movie, but it's many, many, many little clips of people acting and being filmed for that particular moment. That's why they get the scenes and scenarios so perfect, because you could spend a whole week filming 2 minutes of video. I'm not saying that they do, but you get the idea. So when you watch a movie, it's basically a fictional story. Usually, you have true movies, true life story movies, if you like. But ultimately, when you're watching these TV programs, these shows, they're fictional. They're fictional storylines. People are acting the part. You see the guy acting the part. You might see Will Smith in the movie acting the part of some detective, but in real life, Will Smith isn't a detective. And so the same thing happens when you watch these politicians. You watch them on TV, they're being filmed. It's a 2 minute, it's a 5 minute clip. They've been told how to behave, how to act. They come out, they do it. If you were to take all these clips, edit them, add them together, you'd have a movie. And so, when we understand the type of corruption, the type of things that go on, we can see this movie play out in our mind. So you said this, then you said that, then you said this, then you said this. So you're obviously corrupt. But these people can't see it, because these short little clips of this TV show or this movie are spread out over the course of days, weeks, months. So the average Joe doesn't connect the clips together. And so again, like I said last night, you got the UN, they say, oh, Bibi, you can't really do what you're doing, but he's doing it anyway. And then you've got America going, well, oh, can't we have a 21-day ceasefire? And Bibi, he plays his part, he just blanks them. But then the next morning, America is sending troops over to the small hats to help them. And that's all pretty obvious to us that have our eyes open. And we understand the difference between the reality of what these people really do in their lives, as opposed to how they present themselves in these hundreds of little clips where you see these, like you're seeing here, for example, on the screen, you're seeing Netanyahu addressing people. This is part of a clip that you would add to a longer movie, and if you were to watch the whole movie, you find out these people are Amalekites and they're corrupt. Whatever else. I mean, it could go on for days. And then, so this particular video, he goes into that. That's what this particular person, this Mahmoud, like I say, I've never watched him before, but he does a good job, because he's, like it says here, we handed Gaza to Hamas. And so what they're saying to you is, what's the agenda? Oh, we need to clear the world of terrorists. We need to clear the world of them. In this clip here, Netanyahu is talking about how this network has spread over 5 continents. In this clip, he's addressing the Iranian people, not the leaders, and he's saying, look, your government organizations have a network that spreads across 5 continents of the world. We are trying to eradicate that, and then all that money that gets spent on this network will go back into your country. You could flourish, you could have tourism, you could join the beast. That's what they want them to do. And then so again, it goes into that little movie clip part where they try to sell their propaganda. Part of it's, like I say, eradicating Hamas. But then, like I say, this person here, Mahmoud, he goes in to show you that they handed Gaza back to Hamas. They basically gone in, blitzed it, destroyed as much as they could, make the excuses of why they had to be there, and they've moved on. And so he's saying that they've given parts of it back to people of Hamas. However, they eradicated the threat from Hamas. So it's contradictory. And he'll even show you one article where they literally contradict themselves within a couple of lines. And then it also mentions the Hezbollah hits the Karish gas field. So this is going into the situation with Lebanon. don't forget it's the banking elites. The banking elites wanted to clear that area. They probably wanted to grab hold of that gas field. And if we get into it with Iran, then, you know, we can install the beast system over there. We can overpower them, install the beast system. You know, what America, the West, would really love to do with Iran is destroy its nuclear facilities, set it back 20, 30 years, but then all that money that they're spending on the terror, it would be like, well, your people are suffering, but you're spending all this money on these networks, and it's like they would hope for it to die down. Then what they would really like to do in an ideal world is Iran then to adopt the beast system to be able to get money back into the country to give to the people. See, at the minute, the argument in Iran is that, yeah, we spend a lot of money which we could spend on facilities here, but we spend it on the terror network, but we do it because these people are trying to take away our identity. Look what they did to the rest of the world. You see, so that's the kind of like the balance between it. But then again, like I say, you always have the influence of the banking elites in between there. You know, these high-ranking ayatollahs, they know that their religion is born out of the Roman Catholic Church. They don't maybe relate that to the people. So somewhere along the line, you know, it's you know, these people are all twisted in the head. But when you have control, you may know that your religion's come out of the Roman Catholic Church, but when you have control of the masses of people, when you have a certain agenda, that's why you don't want to let the beast system in, because that will ultimately take your power away. So, you know, if you watch this, like I say, you watch this particular video, he'll kind of show you the difference between what's been said and what's actually happening. I believe this particular person must have links in that particular area. It's a good thing to watch. But before I go, you know, Psalms 55 and 21 says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And, you know, when you watch how Bibi Netanyahu's speaking, addressing the Iranian people in that clip, in that video that I've just highlighted, you'll see it. You know, his words are smoother than butter, but war is in his heart. His words softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords, because we know what he's really about. It says, cast thy burden upon Yahweh, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. It says, but thou, O power, shall bring them down into the pit of destruction. It says, bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust thee. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. So yeah, one more thing before I go. So, you know, I made that video last night, and then, you know, normally when I make a video, all I do really is just for the title, just pull up, you know, one of the scriptures, find a picture, add the picture, a thumbnail for the video, and just upload it. And you know, at one point in the video, I did mention about the solar eclipse, and then with the solar eclipse, I think I've used the analogy before. You've got like the Batman light. You know, you watch Batman, for example. You watch the TV program Batman when Batman's about to kick into action. You know, you see that light appear, and so it's kind of like how Bashim How Shai, you know, it gave us the solar eclipse. You know, it means a lot, and it's a sign. And so at one point, I typed in the Batman light to see if I could get a good picture to use. Obviously, I changed my mind in the end, but I did come across like a picture like this. I mean, you can see here there's all these different pictures, and then what hit me straight away, because I've used that analogy before, but I never actually looked at any pictures. You know, we have in our minds, for example, if I say to you the Batman light, you know, you have something in your mind, but when you actually look at the different pictures of it, the image becomes more vivid. And so I think back to when I had the vision, it instantly hit me, because, you know, you've got like this type of thing, and I've mentioned before, you know, I was sitting at work, and I'm sitting at work. I'm eating food. It's a night shift. So you imagine a guy sitting at work on a night shift watching TV with his feet up on the table, and his Chinese container. It wasn't Chinese food, but it was like one of those Chinese containers, just eating my food out of the pot. And then I've explained it loads of times, and then from my left, I felt this presence, and then it was enough to shock me. I got up out of the chair, I stood up, I looked, and then instantly I started to see this vision. And what did I see? I saw the earth. I mentioned it all before. I've seen the picture of the earth, Egypt, the roots growing out of Egypt. They grew over the earth, all these different religions. They went over to America, and then the Most High put the sword through America, with the same way like the solar eclipse, with the cutting across it. And then it came up, it was like, HITLER was right. HITLER was right. It was like a worded message. Small hats are fake, and the Bible is for you. And then I saw the third thing I saw instantly was the earth spinning from like as if I was in space looking at it. And then I knew that this earth was kind of rotten with deceit. It was covered, it was rotten. It was just like, it's too far gone, almost. And then the last thing I've mentioned before was Yahweh Shai flying over the top. So I saw all this stuff playing out in front of me, and then I looked up because I felt the presence. And as I looked up, this figure went over my head, flew like a Passover. And I mentioned it before, like a black figure. I've mentioned like a Predator type effect. When you watch the movie Predator, it's that kind of that type of effect. And when I saw this, certain images here, this reminded me of it. I didn't really think of it at the time. Now, what you're looking here, for example, you see the Batman sign. So the edges are defined. Somebody's drawn that shape and then coloured in the black. And the edges weren't sharp like that. Obviously, the head didn't have, two little ears popping up like that. And where the feet would be, I didn't really see feet, but it wasn't pointy like that. It is almost like there was no feet. When you see like what they say like on TV, like a ghost, and then you've got the feet, but the feet disappear because it's almost like a shadow. Like I say, what you're looking at on the screen is a definitive picture, a definitive outline, and a definitive colour. But I'm in a darkened room. Had a couple of lights on, the screen light and one light on in the office. And then I've stood up, seen the vision, but really it's pretty dark around me. Not dark, but like a low light. So when I look up and I see the thing, let's just say the thing that's going across me, it's looking like a shadow, it's looking like a cloud, but it's really more, it's not as, like a cloud is not very defined, like a cloud of smoke or something, but then a shadow is more defined than a cloud, but the shadow is not as defined as what you see on the screen. This is a coloured in picture, it's definitive, so it was like the shadow effect, but you could see the shape of someone with the wings, and the wings were like that, so you couldn't see the body, and then you just see kind of like the back where the feet would be, just sort of disappear into nothing, and he flew over me. And it's scary, it's scary, but at the same time, while I was seeing it, I knew that this is the Most High, and what I just saw there, that's his son. Even though I didn't know the name, I didn't know anything about the scriptures, I knew that. And so when I saw this image last night, it made me think of that. And then the other thing it made me think about, which I heard about, was Nasrallah. The Iranian guy that got assassinated a couple of days ago, Nasrallah. If you actually look it up, apparently, I don't know, this is what I've been told on the news reports, apparently he died, but when they found him, he didn't have any marks or cuts on his body. And so what it is, the missile or whatever it was struck, there was an explosion, and then he wasn't near the explosion enough for the explosion to catch him and cut his skin, for example, or damage his skin, or burn his skin, or break a bone or anything. but he died from the pressure wave from the bomb. So it hit, and then a pressure wave went out. You can't see a pressure wave. You can't see it. You know, you see it on these movies, you know, like Matrix or whatever. They'll have this. You have that thing where the air kind of changes as the pressure wave moves, and then it reminded me of the Vision, because you think of, for example, Apostle Paul, you know, getting knocked off the horse, and then obviously he must have got knocked off and fell to the ground, because obviously once you off the seat of the horse, you're still got a distance before you touch your foot on the floor. You know, in my instance, I was sitting in a chair with my feet on the table, and then when it hit me, it just shooks you. So I just stood up. You know, it's almost about like you're about to be attacked by someone, so you just jump up, like as if to say, "Bang! I'm ready to defend myself." But then you're like, but then you're looking in this vision, and then you're just lost. You're just like, "Wow, what's this?" But it was, that's what made me think of the Nasrallah died from pressure waves. You know, like sonic boom. You know, when I was young, I don't play computer games. I got grey hair. I don't play computer games anymore. But in the 90s, maybe early 2000s, I played a little bit of computer games. And you probably remember Street Fighter, and then you got the character Guile. And what's Guile doing? He's throwing sonic booms. You throw the sonic boom, and the sonic boom, you can't see a sonic boom. It's pressure. You know, when obviously it's a thing to do with fighter jets. But you know, it's like a pressure. I'm probably not doing a great job of describing it, but you know, it's to do with pressure, and you know, obviously moving through the air, so on and so forth. So, okay, so I've just pulled this up to explain it properly. You know, a sonic boom is about the pressure waves, as it says here, of air flowing off an aeroplane. So when the plane is still, you can see the pressure around the aeroplane, and then you've got a subsonic, and obviously you can see the pressure there. Then you've got speed of sound, and you can now see how the plane is on the edge of the pressure waves. So when you have a fighter jet that goes supersonic, you get sonic boom. The boom is the sound, because what you're doing is you're now going faster than the speed of sound, and you're breaking the pressure waves. And so you think, you know, like I say, Nasrallah died from pressure wave hitting the body. Having the vision is a spiritual, like I say, hit me spiritually. You know, hits your soul with a pressure wave, not your flesh. And then when you look at these diagrams, then you understand, you know, we have the realm that we live in, which is what we call reality, or the 3D real world that's around us. But then there's a spiritual world around us. So then you understand that when Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, you know, gives one of these prophets one of these intensive visions, what he's doing is taking you, you know, you're like, if you look at that on supersonic on the right hand side, you look at the plane, and you think of the prophet having the vision, seeing things in the spirit world. And you know what he's doing, it's like his nose is the front of the plane, and he's peering out on the edge of reality into the spirit world. Now you can't just pick and choose when you do it. It happens when Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai does it to you. You know, through, you could say through your third eye, because you know, you don't physically go to the edge of something. It's not like you go to the edge of the earth and you peer out over the edge. You're in reality. You're in this world, in this dimension. But the Most High, you know, puts your face at the edge of the dimension into the next dimension, where you see that, you know, fourth dimension, and then you see spiritual things, whatever the Most High chooses to show you. So, you know, the plane, the fighter jet, go. I don't know what speed it has to hit. It has to hit a certain speed to go faster than the speed of sound. You get the sonic boom. The sonic boom is a pressure wave. The pressure wave is what killed Nasrallah. But having the vision is like getting hit with pressure waves, in the spirit, in your soul, and seeing the edge, peering into that next realm, like like the plane. You see in supersonic, the plane is peering in, is bursting into a next pressure zone, which isn't consistent with what we have. You go to the left-hand side, you look at stopped. That's what's consistent with what we see around us, with the world around us. If you look in the middle, subsonic, speed of sound, that's like us having the scriptures, the spirit works on us. We see the world in different angles, the reality. We get to see different pressure points around, like subsonic and speed of sound. But then when you have the vision, and Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai shows you, or you see, your mind is there in looking at these things. Like I say, you read these prophets, and this is what it is. They're on the edge of this dimension, and their face, if you like, is peering. Obviously it's through the third eye, it's peering into the next dimension, all through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai. Sonic booms, you do get this effect as well, obviously, when the plane is bursting through the pressure wave, and you'll see that, I'm not sure what that's produced off, because obviously it's got to have some sort of moisture in there. I'm not sure if that's, hang on, this page is gone. I'm not sure if that's moisture or air. It's probably air that's blowing around. But usually air is clear, but I don't know, so I'd have to go deeper on that. So I just wanted to use that to explain the understanding of the pressure wave, sonic boom, and then being hit with a vision, and the pressure wave of the spirit. So you don't feel it on your skin. If you think of like Sarah Connor, you've got Terminator 2, you've got Sarah Connor holding onto the fence, and then the wall of fire approaches and eats everything in its path. She's in that path in the movie clip, and as the heat got closer to her, she would have felt the heat on her hand. Then it would have started to tingle, then it would start to itch, then it would start to burn, and then it would start to melt. And as the fire engulfed her, obviously all that flesh would have melted. And I can't remember the movie clip so much, I think it left the bones, the skeleton. So that you don't feel it like that. You don't feel it in that way, the same way Nasrallah, I don't know what he felt, but he must have felt something, even though his skin wasn't cut, he's got no blood or nothing, but he must have felt this force out of nowhere, like pound against him and literally knock him, like I don't know what it did, don't know what organ failed for them to say that, but that's what they're saying. He died from the pressure wave. And when I think about the vision, when people, like I say, you don't have these visions and then think, oh, I'm not really sure who that was. Oh, was it this thing? Was it that entity? Was it you when the Most High shows you something, straight away. It hits like a spiritual pressure wave. So you get hit with it, you're locked into this thing, and then he just shows you, boom, 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 boom. And then, like I say, the last thing is the black figure passing over the top. And I looked up and I just thought, I don't know his name, but I know that's his son. That's what you're thinking in your mind, the Most High and his son. And then it's gone. It's like this moment out of nowhere, which you can't really match it with a moment that you experience on the earth in other scenarios, in worldly scenarios. So I don't know, like I say, I just wanted to bring that out. I saw that last night. I ended up not using the picture, but I looked at it straight away and I said, you know what, this is kind of reminds me of the vision, that figure going over. Like I say, this isn't exactly that, but it's like this thing just goes over your head, and you just like I say, spiritual pressure wave. You're feeling it. You're seeing stuff. You're understanding. Your brain's thinking. You're watching it. You're like, what's this? What's that? That's the Most High. This is His Son. And you can imagine how you're left after that. When you're back in the room, it's like being hypnotized, and you're back in the room, and you don't know what to do with yourself. You stand there like, what the fuck? Like looking around, like, fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? Look at the food. Food's sitting there on the table where you left it. Thinking, I ain't worried about the food. I tell you what I did. I sat down and I started looking stuff up on Google, because, like I said before, what I saw was different religions, and I understood that they kind of came in the order of when they were about. So when I started looking at the dates, and I realized, ancient Egypt or Mizraim was before these things. So then that's why that came first, and then this thing came, and that thing came, and the Roman Catholic Church came, and then Rome was in there, all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to bring that out. So I'm gonna leave it right there. Hope that's edifying. Until next time, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakah Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.